Traders, how are you? Marcello, founder of the Day Trading Academy, co-founder of Speed Up Trader. Today is the first recap of 2021. So, challenging year, everything from earthquakes to pandemics. Hope all of you guys are setting your new goals for this year. One thing I might have to say that I think is going to be a little bit different than what you're expecting is I think 2020 was just the beginning of what we're going to see. Next 10 years, especially in the U.S., I think we're going to have economic problems, social problems around the world. I think we're going to have environmental problems, earthquakes and volcanoes. There was just a report that I read recently as well that there was a set of islands in the Caribbean where they're setting to evacuate 100,000 people because the volcanoes that have been active for decades are starting to rumble again. So not to say that it's a bad thing. Remember, since I've been in the financial markets for quite a while now, crisis brings opportunity. So just make sure you learn how to do something, hopefully online, that doesn't close, like the stock market, like trading, for example. Overall, investors borrowed $722.1 billion through November, exceeding the previous high in 2018 of $668.9 billion. This is a little bit worrisome for some investors due to the fact that whenever we've reached these highs when it comes to margin, this is essentially what it means when you borrow money against your stock portfolio. It tends to be preceded by periods of volatility. For example, the crashes of 2000 2008, 2009. So options activity as well surged along the scam, I should say, of commission-free trading. If you guys want me to explain that, I detest Robinhood, for example, because I think they destroyed the investing, the retail, the UNI trading industry, for example, and I can do a video on that if you guys want. There's been an average of about 29 million contracts traded, which is 48% higher than 2019 and 2020. That's what it went up by. Monday, overall markets were higher. We did have record highs in all three of the main markets in the U.S., Dow, the S&P 500, and also the NASDAQ. That was because of the stimulus that was finally approved, which is going to avoid the government shutdown. Tuesday, the market was lower as the market backed away from the record highs as the Senate Majority Leader McConnell blocked an effort to vote for the bigger stimulus checks. So, Pakistan can receive, however many millions as well as for gender studies, but we can just get $600. That's enough for us. Wednesday is higher as well. We did get record highs again in all three markets after the UK approved the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is the second authorized vaccine in the UK. Thursday, the markets were higher as well, with the Dow and the S&P 500 closing at record highs. And for the week, the Dow was up 1.34%. For the year 2020, it was up 7.25%. S&P 500 was up 1.43% for the week, while for the year in 2020, it was up for 16.26%. NASDAQ was up 0.65%, while for the year 2020, it was up 43.64%. And in the European markets, the Swiss market was the biggest positive one I should say the most positive, not the biggest positive. I always do the Spanish videos first, so I always think in Spanish when I do the English version. The Swiss stocks were the best market in all of Europe at 2.8%, and Latin America and Canada, the Mexican exchange was up 1.60%, while Canada was down 1.37%. Africa and the Middle East was mixed. Nigeria, which now, according to the IMF, is the largest economy of the entire 26-nation continent of Africa. They went up by 3.79%, and then in the Far East, in Hong Kong, the HSCEI went up 3.20%. Bitcoin just crossed the 33,000 mark. It's up over 30% just for the week. It's nearly quadrupled in value since 2020. And I'm not a Bitcoin fanatic, so to speak, right? I look at it kind of through I try to look at it from without favorites, let's say, right? Just through kind of an analytical lens. I think I've always told you guys before the crash in 2008, if you guys go back and find, the video you can't find anymore because the other channel got banned from YouTube. But 2 weeks before the crash in 2018, I let you guys know, don't do it. Be careful. All the analysts were talking about it's going to get to 50K. It's going to get to 50K in 2019, 2020. And I was the one that was telling you that it wasn't going to get there then. Even though I believe in the idea of Bitcoin and the cryptos, I think that we have to be a little bit realistic. I don't think governments are going to allow things like cryptos and Bitcoin to be the next financial system, even though I love the idea behind it. Sweden is now looking to be able to launch one of the first countries to launch a digital currency. You guys remember in previous videos as well, I talked about how the European Central Bank registered the trademark digital euro as well. So I think what this is going to be is really blockchain, which is the technology behind Bitcoin, right? We got the cryptos, Bitcoin, and then we have blockchain, and that's what people kind of call Bitcoin, right? Or cryptos. So I think it can go up, it can go down. I'm not, I prefer to invest in other things like the miners, for example. Tesla has even had better returns in Bitcoin this year overall. So overall, I think it can still go up and down. It just went over 33%. I'm recording this on a Saturday. And even Japan is also starting to look at the possibility to be able to launch a digital currency in both public and private sectors, following by the swift moves by China and other countries to do the same. China is actually looking to launch a digital yuan by 2022. And I wouldn't be surprised, kind of think of one of these conspiracy theories, that the CIA or something was the one that launched this kind of technology so they can usher in the cashless society and be able to track us with everything. Imagine having to pay with something with a digital currency like a digital dollar or government coin, but you can't buy it because you have to have some approval, some permission. That's what they want, in my opinion. Other than that, financial and banking news, Chilean and Colombian currencies were outperforming this week due to the rise in copper and also future gains in oil prices. The USD, the dollar, has collapsed at its lowest point since April 2018, the dollar index, while the euro against the dollar is at its highest point since April 2018 at $1.23. And in crude, commodities went up 0.60% at 48.52 for 2020. It's still down 23.19%, whereas Brent, which is the international crude, went up 0.99% to 51.80, and for 2020, it's still down 24.72%. Gold is heading for its highest close in 6 weeks after Trump signed the $900 billion coronavirus stimulus bill for everybody except the American people. Gold is the USD, since it's gone down. Remember that the majority of the commodities in the world are actually priced in dollars, right? Oil, gold, I would say, are some exceptions because they have some oil exchanges now in Singapore, for example. But at the end of the day, everything is kind of tied to the dollar globally. Everything is kind of interlinked now due to the fact that we have this global economy. But when the dollar goes down, especially when it's going down significantly like it is right now, a lot of the commodities go up. Oil, gold, silver, all of these things. The gold also hit a record high in 2020. If you guys don't remember, 2074. Silver hit its record high in 49.45 in 1980. So according to inflation, that should actually be a little bit higher overall. And gold for the year ends at near 1,900 an ounce. It's up 25% in 2020, while silver is up over 49%. For the week, gold finished at $18.99 and went up 1.02%, while silver closed at $26.47, and that was up 2.27%. Spain's economy is going to contract by over 10% in 2020 due to the pandemic, and mostly because of the restrictions because of the government imposed on it. If you guys don't remember, Spain is kind of like California and New York and New Jersey, where they're just going overboard with the restrictions. The Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, hablar español, they said that they're now 10% poorer, and they're actually expecting the results for 2021 to be at about the same level. They've even left the minimum wage the same without an increase, even though last year they actually increased it quite a bit. The number of Americans filing for first-time unemployment claims went down unexpectedly last week, according to analysts. It's a second consecutive week that it went down by about 19,000. Corporate news, Apple went up by 3.6% on Monday to close at an all-time high at $136.69. Even though it didn't reach its intraday record, the stock has risen over 85% in 2020. It's the second time that it's had an annual gain of more than 80%. And BMW is stepping up when it comes to electric vehicles. They're stating that between 2021 and 23, they want to build more than 250,000 electric cars, more than that than originally planned. They want 20% of their cars to be powered by electric engines compared to just 8% in 2020. U.S. government is raising tariffs on certain EU products as well, including aircraft components, certain non-sparkling wines, cognacs, and brandies from France and Germany, as the battle of aircraft subsidies continues. If you guys don't remember, the EU was found to be illegally subsidizing Airbus. And if you guys don't know, Airbus is from the EU, then Europe, Boeing is from the US, and these are two of the major aircraft construction companies in the world. So obviously, it's about 50-50, right? With a smaller percentage of companies in Brazil and things like China, but they were found to be illegally subsidizing that. So now the U.S. wants to get back at them essentially with these tariffs. Technology. This is actually really interesting. A team of researchers affiliated with various institutions in the UK and Saudi Arabia have developed a way to produce jet fuel using carbon dioxide as a main ingredient. So now, about 12% of the industry is 12% of the, let's say, all of the oil being used in the world is for jet fuel. So if we're able to develop electric cars and then also be able to change things like this, we're going to be able to reduce our reliance quite a bit. I remember one time I listened to one of the lectures on Elon Musk, which if you guys haven't done it, I highly recommend it. Just Google, go on YouTube, and then use the filter to select for videos longer than 20 minutes, and then just listen to him. One time he said, even if we just change to electric cars and use oil to be able to use them in the massive power plants, we're going to lose a lot less, or not lose less oil, but it's much more efficient to do it in the big machines rather than an internal combustion engine, because we lose so much when it's inside of an actual gas-powered engine. So that's going to be good, because obviously we don't have unlimited oil, but if we start to reduce our oil footprint, let's say, that'll be good for the environment, and then also, we'll have other options, because eventually we're going to run out of oil. Several firms and tech firms are also developing apps and systems to be able to have people update their COVID-19 tests and vaccinations. It's going to create a digital credential to be able to show to get in places like venues, stadiums, movie theaters, offices, or even countries. So that's coming as well. They're thinking that it can even be used as a completed vaccine passport application as well. Mineral-rich Indonesia, which is a major producer of nickel, signed an agreement with LG of $9.8 billion to be able to try to become a global production hub for the green tech, due to the fact that the batteries inside of electric cars rely on lithium. They need nickel as well to be able to go ahead and make those batteries. In investment news, retail sales in the U.S. went up by 3%. If you guys don't know this beautiful lady right here, her name is Cheekies. She didn't feel well today, so I'll spoil her a little bit. Don't forget, you guys can listen to the podcast as well. You guys on the podcast probably don't see on video that I have a dog here next to me, just so to express it to you. U.S. retail sales saw a 3% boost during this year, expanding the holiday shopping season. If there's one thing that was good about the coronavirus, was the fact that now we've moved much more into a digital age, which in a way is kind of good. Making up 19.7% of total retail sales. The online sales went up by 49% from October 11th to December 24th. China and the EU have likely reached an investment deal this week as well to give the EU much better access to Chinese market and further protections to their assets there. The talks began in 2014, but obviously negotiating with the Chinese, the Europeans, imagine them negotiating together, probably not the easiest things in the world. The EU is putting 1/5 of its $750 billion, or about $914 billion recovery fund to improve digital capabilities to be able to catch up with China and the US. More than anything, the 5th generation 5G wireless networks. And Trump administration is strengthening an executive order that's barring US investors from investing in stocks or securities from Chinese companies that are military controlled, due to the fact that obviously we still have a little bit of a riffraff between China and the US. In international events, South Africa became the latest country to hit its millionth case of COVID-19. South Korea became the latest country to be able to identify the COVID variant, which is much more contagious. They say up to 70% more contagious. The global infections are at 80 million with nearly 1.8 million deaths, even as vaccination efforts are now underway in North America and Europe. Huge Croatian earthquake, 6.4, hit on Tuesday, damaging quite a bit of the city. It shook neighboring countries of Bosnia and Serbia and also Slovenia, which was, they only have one nuclear power plant. They actually shut it down for a precaution. Europe is vaccinating its first wave of high-priority patients, many health workers and others. Some are refusing to take the vaccine because of skepticism and suspicions remain elevated. And the Spanish government has said that if they don't take the vaccine, they're actually going to be placed on a list and shared with other countries in the EU. And Wednesday, they did approve the AstraZeneca vaccine in the UK that was developed by Oxford University and also AstraZeneca. The government has ordered 100 million doses of the vaccine to be able to go ahead and jump ahead in front of other Western countries. And China is accusing the U.S. of demonstrating a show of force and a provocation of endangering peace and security after they sailed 2 Navy warships through the Taiwan Strait on Thursday morning. The U.S. sailed the USS John McCain and USS Curtis Wilbur, and they said they were conducting a routine a routine transit in accordance with international law. And in unusual facts this week, international team of researchers discovered what they believe to be a new population of blue whales, which was the largest animal to ever live in the earth. It was found in the Western Indian Ocean. A new species of turtle was also found in the South American, the Orinoco and Rio Negro basins in South America. And solar systems of the 2 planets, I'm sure you guys saw it, the first time in 800 years that they have become so close together. The largest planets in our solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, came within 400 million miles on Monday's evening sky. A closest that is not going to occur again since 2080. And other than that, the 66-year-old private Chinese billionaire known as Lone Wolf Zhong Shanshan became one of the fastest accumulations of wealth in history. He got to $77.8 billion and is now the 11th richest person in the world. And a well-preserved Ice Age woolly rhino was found with the organs still intact in Siberia. The extreme north are actually waiting for the ice roads to be able to become passable so they can deliver to a lab for studies next month. That's the news for this week, guys. Happy New Year's. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll see you next week.